In a remote stretch of sun-baked desert, where the horizon shimmers like a mirage and the only company is the distant rumble of passing trucks, an unassuming gas station stood as a silent witness to the unpredictable dramas of life. This wasn't a place you'd expect high-octane showdowns or heart-wrenching moments of raw humanity, but fate has a way of rewriting the script when you least expect it. Before we dive deeper into this tale, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know where you're tuning in from, and if stories like this resonate with you, consider subscribing to our channel. Tomorrow, we have another special narrative waiting just for you. That day, a brilliant yellow Ferrari, a car that gleamed like a modern chariot under the unrelenting sun, rolled into the gas station with a quiet, almost cinematic elegance. Behind the wheel was none other than Keanu Reeves, whose calm, measured presence contrasted sharply with the chaotic scene that was about to unfold. Clad in a lightweight jacket and cool shades, he stepped out with the assured gait of a man who had seen it all. As he approached the fuel pump, his ever-faithful pitbull, Bruno, bounded out of the car. With muscles honed by countless adventures and eyes that sparkled with both curiosity and wisdom, Bruno was far more than just a pet. He was a trusted partner, a kindred spirit who had shared Keanu's triumphs and struggles in equal measure. Bruno leapt gracefully onto the dusty ground, his paws kicking up small clouds of grit as he explored his new surroundings. The air was thick with the aroma of fuel and hot asphalt, and the silent heat vibrated with the promise of an ordinary day that was about to be shattered. In a shadowed corner of the station, a rowdy cluster of bikers had gathered. They were a motley crew, their leather jackets adorned with patches and their eyes glinting with a mix of mischief and menace. Among them, the burly leader known as Brick Malone, a man with tattoos winding up his arms like living art and a sneer that bespoke both arrogance and cruelty, was the first to fix his gaze on Bruno. His dark eyes glimmered with a reckless delight as he tapped his boot on the cracked concrete, an unspoken challenge that reverberated through the gathered group. At first, Bruno's curiosity got the better of him. His tail wagged in innocent excitement as he ambled toward the bikers, completely unaware of the danger lurking in their rowdy banter. The leader, Brick Malone, couldn't resist an opportunity to make a statement. With a sardonic chuckle and a gleam of mischief in his eyes, Brick stepped forward and sneered, "Well, look at this, a free spirit on four paws. Shouldn't you be on a leash, buddy?" His tone dripped with condescension, and the surrounding bikers joined in with raucous laughter that echoed off the barren walls of the gas station. Keanu Reeves, who had been casually refueling his Ferrari, suddenly sensed the shift in the atmosphere. His eyes narrowed as he took in the scene, a scene that was evolving far more quickly than any simple fuel stop should. With an almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw, he set aside the pump nozzle, letting it clatter onto the ground. Every movement from that moment on spoke of a man who had had enough, not just for himself but for the loyal companion by his side. "Bruno, stay close," Keanu called out in a calm yet firm tone, his voice a blend of gentle authority and deep concern. Bruno, in response, halted his exploratory romp and turned his bright eyes back toward his owner. There was an unspoken understanding between them, a bond forged through years of shared adventures, silent glances, and moments of vulnerability. As Bruno edged closer, the tension around the group of bikers grew palpable. Brick Malone's smirk widened, and with a swift, calculated move, he raised his boot and kicked Bruno hard on the side. The sound of the impact, a sharp, metallic thud, cut through the laughter like a knife. Bruno yelped, stumbling backward in shock and pain, his once enthusiastic tail drooping as confusion clouded his normally alert eyes. For a heartbeat, the world seemed to hold its breath. Keanu's expression morphed from mild irritation to resolute determination. Ignoring the jeers and taunts of the bikers, he strode purposefully toward Bruno. Every step was measured, his calm facade belying the storm of emotions swirling beneath the surface. As he knelt beside his loyal companion, he reached out to check for injuries. "Hey, Bruno, I'm here, stay with me, buddy," he murmured, his voice low and steady, laced with the unmistakable timbre of someone who'd seen too much cruelty to tolerate it now. Brick Malone's laughter, once so confident and booming, faltered under the weight of Keanu's unwavering presence. The bikers, sensing a shift in power dynamics, exchanged uncertain glances among themselves. One of them, a wiry man with a nervous twitch in his eye named Ryder, muttered under his breath, "This isn't exactly how I pictured our day going." His comment was lost in the general murmur of discontent, yet it was enough to signal that the mood was rapidly changing. Rising slowly from the ground, Keanu fixed his steely gaze on Brick Malone, who now stood just a few paces away. The air was electric with tension, heavy with the collective breath of every onlooker. "Did you really think that was necessary?" Keanu's tone was calm but bristled with authority. "What you did wasn't just about a dog, it's about respect. It's about who we are as people." His words were measured, deliberate, and carried the weight of someone who had learned that true strength was not measured by brute force but by the courage to stand up for the vulnerable. Brick Malone's smirk wavered for a moment, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. "It's just a dog," he retorted with a dismissive shrug, his voice laced with bitter sarcasm. "Besides, these pit bulls aren't exactly known for being gentle. I was doing everyone a favor." His response was met by a chorus of uneasy laughter from the other bikers, a feeble attempt to regain control of an unraveling situation. Keanu's eyes never left Brick Malone's. Slowly, deliberately, he stepped forward, his shadow falling over the man as if to remind him of the insignificance of cruelty. "Respect," Keanu said softly, his voice steady and imbued with an inner strength, "is about how we treat the most vulnerable. Today, you've shown the worst of yourselves." His gaze swept over the circle of bikers, each of whom seemed to shrink a little under the weight of his words. Sensing that their bravado was crumbling, one of the bikers, Vinny, a burly fellow known more for his loud laughter than his wits, tried to defuse the mounting tension with a half-hearted quip. "Oh come on, Reeves, you're just an actor playing hero, aren't you? This is all just a bit of Hollywood fun." His words were intended to provoke, but instead they only underscored the desperate need to hide behind bravado in a situation that had clearly spiraled out of control. But Keanu was beyond such distractions. His calm was an anchor in a sea of rising chaos. As several bystanders discreetly began recording the unfolding drama with their smartphones, Keanu reached for a long, coiled hose stored near the pump, a seemingly mundane object that, in the right hands, could become a symbol of resistance. With a measured motion that betrayed neither haste nor anger, he unspooled the hose and aimed it directly at Brick Malone. "You want a test?" he said, his tone a blend of dry humor and challenge. "Let us see if you're as tough as you claim." In one swift, unexpected motion, Keanu squeezed the trigger. A high-pressure jet of water burst forth, lashing out like a streak of lightning on a summer's day. Brick Malone staggered backward, caught completely off guard by the sudden assault of cool water that doused him from head to toe. The man's sneer was replaced by a look of stunned disbelief as the water soaked through his leather jacket, his carefully constructed aura of menace unraveling in mere seconds. The other bikers, momentarily thrown by the spectacle, exchanged glances that mixed amusement with genuine apprehension. Ryder and Vinny's laughter, once boisterous, now rang hollow, a desperate attempt to regain some semblance of control in an increasingly untenable situation. "Enough," Keanu said firmly as he lowered the hose. His voice resonated with an unyielding conviction that left no room for further taunts. "This isn't a contest of who is tougher. It's about decency, about the way we treat each other, whether human or animal. His gaze, unwavering and intense, locked onto Brick Malone, who now seemed as if he were teetering on the brink of regret. Before you do something else you might regret, I'd advise you to leave. Now. At that very moment, the low wail of sirens began to infiltrate the heavy silence, a sound that carried both the promise of order and the inevitability of consequences. The gathered onlookers, many of whom had been silently recording the incident, now looked around with a mixture of relief and lingering disbelief. Even Brick Malone's cohorts, who had earlier exuded confidence, now appeared small and uncertain in the face of the law's impending arrival. With the police lights painting the dusty landscape in shades of red and blue, a squad car pulled up to the gas station with a precision that belied the earlier chaos. 2 officers emerged, their authoritative presence cutting through the tension like a beacon of justice. "What is going on here?" one demanded in a voice that brooked no argument. Keanu stepped back, his calm resolve intact as he pointed a steady finger at Brick Malone. "This man," he said, "kicked my dog. And now he is trying to use intimidation to justify his cruelty." His words, though few, carried the full force of his indignation. The officers quickly moved in, questioning the bikers and collecting evidence from the array of smartphones held by the stunned witnesses. Brick Malone, once so arrogant, now found himself at the mercy of the law and the inevitable judgment of the gathered crowd. His attempt at dismissing the incident as just a dog fell flat in the face of the recorded evidence and the unmistakable aura of responsibility that Keanu exuded. Meanwhile, Keanu knelt beside Bruno, gently checking over his injured companion. "You okay, boy?" he asked, his voice softening with concern as he stroked Bruno's fur in a comforting gesture. Bruno, though shaken, responded with a weak but reassuring lick, an affirmation of the bond that had carried them through so many trials. It was a moment of tender vulnerability amid the harsh glare of public spectacle, a reminder that true strength often lies in caring for those who cannot speak for themselves. As the officers led the bikers away, Brick Malone's final parting words, venomous and resentful, echoed in the air. "You won today, Reeves," he spat, his tone a mix of defeat and defiance, "but next time, things will be different." Keanu's response was calm and measured. Placing a gentle hand on Bruno's shoulder, he met the man's gaze with quiet authority. "If you ever try that again," he said slowly, "it won't be different, it'll be worse." His words, carrying the weight of someone who had long abandoned violence in favor of principled strength, seemed to hang in the air even as the flashing lights of the police cruisers began to fade into the distance. In the aftermath, as the crowd slowly dispersed and the dusty station returned to its quiet solitude, whispers of admiration and shock spread among the onlookers. A woman in a vintage denim jacket remarked softly, "That dog is amazing, so strong, yet so gentle." Another man, his phone still recording, commented, "This is going viral. Everyone's going to see what happened here. We need more of this kind of courage." Keanu, ever the reluctant hero, only smiled and replied, "It's all about how you treat them. Bruno is strong because he feels safe, and he only fights back when absolutely necessary." The viral video, uploaded within hours, transformed the quiet desert gas station into the unlikely stage of a nationwide conversation about respect, empathy, and the inherent dignity of all living beings. In his follow-up message to millions of viewers, Keanu spoke with the measured wisdom of someone who had witnessed the very best and worst of humanity. "Today was a reminder," he said, "that kindness and empathy never go out of style. No matter who you are or where you come from, the way you treat the most vulnerable defines you. And sometimes, the quietest acts of courage are the ones that make the biggest difference." As the story rippled across social media, Bruno, now a symbol of resilience and unwavering loyalty, captured the hearts of people everywhere. His image, juxtaposed with Keanu's calm determination, became a rallying cry for compassion in the face of cruelty. The hashtags #RespectForAll and #StandUpForBruno trended across the nation, igniting discussions in community centers, high school classrooms, and even on late-night talk shows. One popular host, with his trademark wit, quipped on air, "Looks like even a pitbull can teach a few tough guys a lesson. Who knew a little guy could pack such a powerful message?" The once ordinary gas station had transformed into a stage for an unforgettable drama, a story that wove together elements of Americana, raw emotion, and even a touch of humor. In the reflective twilight of that day, as the sun dipped low behind the distant mesas, the events at the station took on the quality of a modern fable. It was a tale that reminded everyone present that the measure of a person is not in how loudly they roar, but in how gently they treat those who cannot speak for themselves. In the days that followed, community members gathered to honor the quiet heroism displayed at that fateful moment. Local newspapers carried op-eds on the importance of compassion in a world too often marred by cruelty. In coffee shops, diners debated the symbolism of a simple act, a water hose, a caring touch, and the unyielding bond between a man and his dog, as proof that sometimes, real strength is found in vulnerability and empathy. Even as the legal process unfolded for Brick Malone and his cohorts, the incident served as a catalyst for deeper conversations about the way society treats both people and animals alike. Keanu Reeves, never one to seek the spotlight, continued on his journey, his thoughts forever intertwined with Bruno's steadfast loyalty. In quieter moments away from the public eye, he would often reflect on that day, the heat of the desert, the piercing glare of harsh judgment, and the gentle smile of a pitbull who had taught him yet again that love and respect are forces that can defy even the most callous cruelty. In his private journal, he wrote, "There are moments in life that remind us of the power of compassion. Today, I was reminded that a kind gesture, however small, can ripple outward and touch the lives of countless strangers. And for that, I am eternally grateful." And so, the story of the yellow Ferrari, the courageous pitbull Bruno, and the quiet but indomitable spirit of Keanu Reeves became part of a larger narrative, a story that, in its essence, was about the beauty of standing up for what is right, even in the face of overwhelming odds. It was a story that resonated with the timeless themes of pain, loss, hope, and triumph. In the bustling tapestry of American life, where every day is fraught with moments of both despair and joy, this episode shone as a beacon of what can be achieved when one man, a loyal dog, and a few well-timed acts of kindness come together to challenge the status quo. Even now, as the digital age continues to evolve and new stories are shared in the blink of an eye, the lessons from that sunlit desert day remain ever relevant. In living rooms, in bustling city streets, and on quiet country roads, people are reminded that empathy is not a relic of a bygone era but a living, breathing force that can reshape our communities. And if a single story about a man, his dog, and a group of misguided bikers can spark such widespread reflection, then perhaps there is hope for a world where compassion triumphs over cruelty time and time again. In the end, the legacy of that fateful encounter is not measured by the scars it left or the viral videos it inspired, but by the enduring message it carried, that every life, no matter how small, deserves respect. And as long as there are people willing to stand up and speak out, even in the face of overwhelming adversity, the spirit of kindness will always find a way to shine through. So, if you ever find yourself doubting the power of compassion, remember the day at the dusty gas station, the yellow Ferrari parked under the relentless sun, and the steadfast eyes of a pitbull named Bruno. For in that moment, a quiet revolution was sparked, reminding us all that true strength lies not in might, but in the courage to be kind. This is not merely a recounting of events, but a celebration of humanity's potential for empathy, resilience, and the willingness to fight for what is right. Let this story serve as both a tribute and a call to action, a reminder that no act of kindness is ever wasted, and that every day brings with it the opportunity to make a difference. In a world that often feels as scorching and relentless as the desert sun, may we always remember that even the smallest acts of courage can ignite a wildfire of change.